Welcome to Iconic Leadership, the podcast for female entrepreneurs who know they're here to lead, not just build a business. This show is for women stepping into the Alpha Queen era, where leadership becomes identity, power is embodied, and success is created from the inside out. Here, we explore sovereign leadership, expansion, vision, purpose, business, and the inner work that is required to build an empire that fits the woman you are becoming. Strategy matters, but who you are matters more. I'm Karissa Adkins, and this is Iconic Leadership. Welcome to the new standard of the Alpha Queen power. Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Iconic Leadership Show. I'm Karissa Adkins, founder of the She Rises movement, creator of the Universal Laws of Iconic Leadership, founder of the Alpha Queen Collective, and a woman on a mission to help women stop playing small and start becoming who they were always meant and created to be. And today, I need to talk about something that has been driving me freaking crazy. Can we have an honest conversation? Because what I'm seeing happen in the coaching industry right now is really fascinating. Every coach, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of service-based people want to write a book. I mean, everybody, right? Everybody wants to be a bestseller. Everyone wants to get their bestseller badge on their book. Everybody wants the author title. Everybody wants the cute Amazon screenshot. Everybody wants the photo shoot holding their book. Everybody wants to say, I'm an author. And listen, I get it. Writing as a book is an incredible accomplishment. Okay. I've written so many books. I've helped women write books. I believe books change lives. But here's what no business coach is talking about. You wrote the damn book. Now what? Right? Seriously, now what? Because writing the book isn't the finish line. It's the starting line, if you ask me. I think a lot of women are finding out that the hard way. So this is what I'm seeing happen over and over and over again. A woman spends months, sometimes years, writing a book. She's poured her heart into the book. She's told her story. She's shared her wisdom. She launches it. Her friends buy it. Her family buy it. A few people leave some reviews. Everybody celebrates. And then what? Crickets. Nothing changes. The business doesn't grow. The opportunities don't magically appear for you. The speaking engagements don't start flooding in. The clients don't suddenly show up. And before long, the book ends up sitting in a box or on a shelf or buried somewhere on Amazon. And then an entrepreneur starts asking herself questions like, maybe my message isn't good enough, or maybe nobody cares about my story, or maybe I missed my chance. Maybe I should have done something different. And you guys, it's so heartbreaking to me because the problem isn't the book, okay? The problem is that nobody taught you what comes next. Okay. So here is the lie. It's an industry lie. The industry has convinced you that becoming an author automatically makes you the instant authority in your industry. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but it doesn't. And I'm going to say that again, right? Because you writing a book, I wrote all these books. They still don't make you like the GOAT in your industry, right? So becoming an author does not automatically make you the GOAT. Authority is built through visibility. Authority is built through consistency. Authority is built through leadership. Authority is built when you continue showing up long after the excitement of the launch day is gone. The book, you guys, is not the destination. The book, to me, in business, is the invitation to step into a bigger version of you. And that's why most entrepreneurs, get stuck in the process because they're writing a book and the book felt safe. Talking about the book every single day, not so much. Using it to get you on a TV show or a podcast interview or on a freaking $20,000 paid speaking stage, That's where a lot of entrepreneurs and coaches start to be like, I don't know. It's just, I just wrote a little baby book, right? And the real issue, guys, isn't writing the book. The real issue is visibility, because visibility is terrifying for a lot of people. Visibility means people have opinions. Visibility means old friends start watching what you're doing now. Visibility means family members start questioning you. Visibility means people who have never built what you've built suddenly have all the advice in the world for you. Visibility means somebody might disagree with you. Visibility means somebody might judge you. And if we're being honest, most women aren't afraid of writing a book. They're afraid of being seen. They're afraid of becoming visible on a global level. They're afraid of owning their power and their message. I remember when I first started showing up online consistently, not just occasionally, consistently. I was sharing my thoughts, I was sharing my stories, I was sharing my beliefs, I was talking about leadership, I was talking about my personal growth, talking about sales, talking about mindset. And let me tell you something, not everybody liked it. Some people thought I was too much. Some people thought I was too loud in the women's entrepreneur space, too bold, too ambitious, too fucking confident. And for a little while, when I was a baby entrepreneur, it bothered me until I realized something. The people who needed my message weren't the ones criticizing me. The people whose lives were changing because of my message, ooh, that was powerful, right? They were grateful that I kept showing up. And that's when everything started shifting. When I would get DMs that said, you know what, I read your story in the book, and I'm just telling you, thank you. Thank you for being vulnerable enough to share it with the world, because it's exactly what I needed to hear. And those DMs, those types of emails are they're way better than obviously the I can't believe you lost weight, or you never had Hashimoto's because you have so much energy in the world, or you've never made $1 million. Like, it can't be done, right? Like, they started inserting their fears and their beliefs into my DMs, and to a non-confident coach and entrepreneur, that would shake someone to the core. But because I've built my own, confidence, I've learned that I don't give a shit what people think of me, about what it is that I say. I'm my authentic version of me, and that has inspired more people. Right. So, yes, I get a DM that says, I don't believe you, but I get 5 more that say, thank you for showing me what's possible. Right. And I remember I started making the visibility more about service and not about me. Okay. And this is exactly one of the reasons why I created Iconic Women Rising, because I got tired of watching brilliant women hide. I got tired of seeing women with incredible stories sitting on the sidelines. Women who should be writing books, women who should be speaking on stages, women who should be hosting podcasts, episodes, women who should be leading movements. And instead, so many women are waiting. They're waiting until they feel ready. They wait until they feel more confident. They wait until they think they know more, or they're somehow certified more. Waiting until somebody gives them permission. But sis, nobody is coming. Nobody is showing up with a fucking crown and a microphone for you. You have to decide to show up for yourself. Okay. So here's another big truth bomb that I kind of want to talk about in the authorship space, right? And I see it all the time, that people write a book and they don't really do anything with it, right? But your book is not the only product, that is out there. You are, right? Your product is you, your leadership, your voice, your perspective, your movement. The book is simply evidence. The book is proof that you have something worth saying. But the real work begins after the book. The real work is becoming the woman capable of carrying the message. That is iconic leadership. Okay. So I think that an entrepreneur, and so many of these women are coaches, right? There's so many of my clients. But I always tell them that your book is your biggest asset in business. It's one of your biggest assets, right? But a lot of people write the book and think that that's it. And I'm like, no, 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 no. The book becomes your asset to get more clients. The book becomes your asset to land paid speaking gigs. The book is an asset that you can use as a lead magnet. The book is a business card, right? It could be an asset that way. The book is just the beginning. But so many people write the book and they're like, now what? And I'm like, girl, why did you stop promoting the book? Why did you stop putting yourself out there? Why did you stop pitching to the TV stations? Why did you not go after the top 50 podcasts, that your book, your chapter would actually help you get leads from? Why did you stop all of that? Right? So many women write the book and then after about 2 months, it fizzles out and then they're not selling any books. They're not using it to build their business, or more importantly, they're not even using it to create more impact in the world. Right? And that drives me crazy because then what happens is these women, right? They invest in themselves and they invest in the book. Prime example, this was my very first collaborative book. Now, it's not one that is in the Iconic Influence Media Group, right? This is my very first collaborative book that I said yes to when I was broke as hell, when I had no business spending $5,000 on a collaborative book. But hey, a media company came out to me. She said, Karissa, I'm seeing your story online. You're speaking like you have a fabulous story. I'd love to feature you. Amazing. When she said it's $5,000, that little voice was like, oh God, no, you cannot, A, you can't afford this, B, who really cares about your story. And honestly, I was afraid to be seen. I was afraid to tell at the time, I was afraid to tell people I was 213 pounds, depressed, stressed, and drinking my life away. But thank God for this media company. She talked me into it. I said yes. And ultimately, I believe that my very first book was the catalyst for how I became a seven-figure coach. Okay. It's not taken away from my hard work ethic. It's not taken away from my own fucking brilliance. But at the end of the day, I said yes when I had no business saying yes, but I took a risk on me. Okay. And I could bet on myself because I knew out of 13 or 14 of us that I was not going to let this book become another thing that sits on my shelf and collects dust. All right. So when we think about, I'm just trying not to show you all their faces because I don't want to talk shit on anyone. But when you think about it, there were 4, 8, 12, there's 14 women in this collaborative book. Okay. Out of those 14 women, I know about 4 of them who have actually used the book to grow their brand, to grow their business, to get more clients, to impact the world. They are now multi 6 and 7-figure and beyond earners. Okay. I have collaborated with those women. I have ran retreats with these women. I had Yamilka. She was our MC at our Rise Up Omaha event. I started a TV show with Clara Capano and Clarity, right? Like Jasmine. Oh my gosh, she was my very first web developer. So there are some women who are using this book still to this day to get clients and to get paid. Okay. But the other women are done. Right? The other women just simply wrote the book, put it on the shelf, and hoped to God that the media company would do all the work for them. And eventually they fizzled out. And I would probably bet if I looked up half of them right now, probably none of them are in business or at least doing the thing that they originally started out. And I'm not calling them out. I'm just simply saying your expertise, your GOAT level, your business, your brand does not stop with the book. It starts it. It opens the door. I remember I was at a speaking engagement in Omaha, Nebraska. I spoke for 30 minutes. There were 75 women in the room by the time that I spoke because I was at the end of the day. After a 30-minute talk, I ended with, I brought like 20 or 30 books. I can't remember what it was. I think it was about 20. I said, I brought 20 books that I want to sign for the first 20 women. And you can imagine, right? These women, after hearing my talk and hearing my story, they were on the edge of their seat because they wanted to be the first one to meet me in the back of the room for a signed copy. It was giving these books away. But what I also was doing was I was inserting my authority, right? Because I was a best-selling author, instantly I got goat mentality, right? They put me as like, oh my God, you are the business coach to work with. You wrote the book, it's a bestseller, and you're giving it to me away for free. So not only did I give those 20 books away, I then sold about 30 books at the event, and one speaking engagement ended up bringing in 10 new clients into my business. So that was an automatic $100,000 day for me. On top of that, because what I do as a coach is so fucking phenomenal, these women love working with me. They were with me for 2 or 3 years, and so many of them referred me, and then they bought other things from me, and then they were doing retreats with me. And guys, I don't tell you this to toot my horn. I tell you this because it was a freaking opportunity. I used the book to leverage my brand, leverage my story, and leverage my expertise, and that got me in the door. These books got me on TV shows, right? This book alone, this is my latest solo book. Now, I love a good collaborative book, right? The Iconic Influence Media is my media and PR company. You're going to hear more about that as we go, because I've just launched it here this year. This is our very first collaborative book, Alpha Queens Rising. Volume 2 is coming out. It's called Iconic Women Rising. And we are going to be producing so many books for so many women and so many coaches and so many entrepreneurs. But it's also my media house is also the media company for my solo book. But I want to show you what you can do with a solo book, guys, because it's not about book sales. All right, it's not. So I actually did this book in reverse, right? I spoke on a stage. I ended up speaking on it was like a 30-minute keynote, 25-minute keynote. I ended up getting 4 clients that day. That's 40 grand automatically. But then because I was using that stage to kind of test my principles, right? Everybody wanted to know all 10 universal laws, right? I only spoke about 4 on that stage, but I let them know that there were 10 total. So a lot of people then opted into my free lead magnet from stage. So I got a ton of leads from it. From those leads, I then sold so many courses, right? Because the 10 Universal Laws of Iconic Leadership is a course. It's an online digital course. So we sold the course. We continue to sell that course. It's our #1 course that we sell, teaching women how to truly master themselves. But then this last year, I published this book, right? It's Unapologetic, the 10 Universal Laws of Iconic Leadership. And if you have a great media company, aka a business coach like me, you're going to then use this book to leverage even more, right? So, what did I do in this book? Every chapter has a story, because story is what gets people to relate to you, right? But then at the end of every chapter, I have a QR code. So not only do I share the story, but I teach the lesson, and then I encourage them to download the worksheet, download the meditation, download the resource and the free tool. So guess what? They buy this book on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, and then they start reading the chapter. They scan the QR code. Now they've signed up into my newsletter, my ecosystem, and now I'm selling them on courses and coaching programs and retreats and mastermind programs and everything else that we do. That is exactly what I'm talking about, guys. The book is the starting point. Okay. So, if I've not convinced you to, get out of your own way yet and go and freaking be part of a collaborative book, I want to invite those of you who are like really feeling called, because you want to, yes, I make a shit ton of money with these books. Okay. It's mainly because I'm very strategic and smart with how I position myself in these books. But more importantly, you guys, my mission and my purpose in life is to help shift and transform and, empower the next 10 generations of women. And how I do that is by, helping other women share their stories too, because I believe storytelling is one of the most powerful things that we can do as women. When we share our stories, other women relate to it, and then they can see what's possible. So if you are someone who is looking to put your story into a book, whether it's a collaborative book or a solo book, I'd love for you to consider Iconic Influence Media. It's my media and PR house. Okay. So yes, we do coaching. Yes, we do retreats. Yes, we do mastermind. But yes, we also have our own PR agency. Okay. So this is exactly why, right? Because women have a story, have a voice, want to make money, want to impact the world. It's exactly why I wrote Unapologetic, because this isn't a book. This isn't just a book, right? It's a leadership manual. It's about becoming a woman who knows that she doesn't need to apologize for her ambition. It's about helping a woman own her voice, own her dreams, own her impact. Okay. And let's be honest, the world doesn't need another woman hiding. Okay. So that's why I wrote and decided to put this book out on the market. But if you're like, Karissa, I'm thinking about writing a book, or maybe can't afford a solo book by yourself. So that's where a collaborative book is a really great option. We only have a couple of spots left in our volume 2. And yes, there'll be volume 3, 4, 5, and so on. I mean, this is not a one and done thing. This is a huge piece of my heart, is like helping women share their stories at a very affordable rate. But guys, I just want to kind of show you, right? Like, this book was not my book. I was buying into someone else's PR, $5,000. I was broke and homeless. I had no business saying yep to a $5,000 book, but I knew I could bet on myself. Okay. So this book ultimately helped me get to my first $250,000. This book helped me get to over $500,000 by being in this collaborative book. Again, it's not mine. It was my coaches that I said yes to. I bought into it. Then I said yes to this book, another collaborative book, right? So it's like, and this is a tiny one, but it didn't matter, right? Expert profiles, conversations with influencers and innovators. That one got me a couple of paid speaking gigs. And then, of course, we have the iconic media books, okay? These authors are not just sharing their story in a book, right? They're sharing their story on stages that we produce. They're sharing their stories in, PR and press. They're sharing their stories and being featured in, major press like Women's, Weekly and USA Today. They're also being, they're sharing their story and their message on billboards. Like, we help women get seen and get heard, and of course, use their book to make more money. So if you are interested, we have a couple of spots left in the Iconic Women Rising Volume 2. And I've got some awesome bonuses. I'm not going to share all of those here on the show, because that's not what it's about. My goal was to come on today and talk about why you can't not put your story out into a book, right? So many people think, oh, well, when I get the money, I'll do it. I'm like, no. This book becomes the payday if you know how to use it right. And I teach women how to use their books, their chapters. It doesn't matter if it's a collaborative book or not, guys. It doesn't devalue your expertise or your story. It's, you just don't know how to effing use the book to get you more paid opportunities. All right. I teach everything from start to finish. We're going to help you write your book. We're going to help you write your chapter. We're going to help you, get on stage. We're going to help you put your story into a film. We're going to help you put your story into a song. Like, I love, love, love marketing and PR. And most importantly, I love helping women share their story with the world. So if you're interested, scroll below and just, book a call with me. If we have spots left, great. We'll talk about it. If not, we'll put you on the wait list for the next one. But anyways, I hope that I've inspired you today, have at least activated something within you. But honestly, I've hoped that I've inspired you to go out and put your story out into the world. People need to hear your story. They need your inspiration. They need your expertise. And you're robbing them of a transformation because you're too scared to become visible at a massive level. And I want to help encourage you to overcome that fear and say yes to yourself, say yes to your story, because it does matter. All right, you guys, I will see you on another episode of Iconic Leadership. Over the next couple of episodes, guys, we are going to be talking about, authorships and books and things like that, because I've made a lot of money from these books, and I absolutely love sharing stories and reading women's stories as well. So with that, I hope you have a great day. I will see you again soon. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Iconic Leadership. If today's conversation activated something within you, make sure you subscribe and share this podcast with women who are ready to rise up too. Leaving a review helps this movement reach more women stepping into their power. This is Iconic Leadership.